So you struggle with productivity like most individuals, and you feel like if you were productive, your life would be different and it would just be better. And essentially, you're trying to figure out how to make the best use out of your time. So I'm going to tell you my variation slash suggestions to do that. And of course, here are the chapters. So first, I want to start it out with you do not have to be the best. You just have to be the smartest or just smart about it. I say that to say I feel like a big thing that holds a lot of people back is because you're trying to be the best. And the issue with trying to be the best is that a lot of times you're comparing yourself to other individuals, because to be considered the best, it means you have to be better than probably a group of individuals. But at the same time, I feel like it holds you back, one, because a lot of people don't start things. They procrastinate things because they're like, oh, well, I have to get it like this. I have to get it like that. Kind of the idea of perfection. But they do it in a way of comparison to others. So you convince yourself that you have to be the best at this thing and the best at that thing. But one thing I want you to realize is that the best does not always get the result that you think they get. Like, for example, if you guys are not familiar with him, Jay-Z, the rapper, a lot of people who listen to rap music and stuff like that, especially people from like his era, like, you know, who grew up in the 90s and stuff like that, a lot of people say Jay-Z is not the best rapper. They say Nas is better than Jay-Z. They said Biggie was better than Jay-Z. There's a multitude of rappers that they all say is better than Jay-Z. But I think we all can attest, and Forbes will too, Jay-Z is the highest paid, if not the highest, one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid rapper. I say that to say some people need to figure out what kind of result do you want out of this thing called being the best. Because if Jay-Z's idea of being the best was to be the best rapper, then Jay-Z is not the best. But if some people look at it as Jay-Z's wealth is what makes him the best, then yes, they may call him one of the best because he's up there, if you get what I'm saying. And I think you have to come to the understanding that you do not have to be the best at one thing and focus your entire time into one thing. And I feel like that's what makes people have this mindset that they are procrastinators or that they don't use their time wisely. You can have your hands in different pots and work on different things with this sense of organization, but it's like you don't necessarily have to be the best at one thing. Because I think sometimes one of the worst things about trying so hard to be the best at something is, God forbid, that thing get taken away from you and you only focus on that thing. And I've mentioned it on a previous video before, but there's a statistic that more than half of people who play, or men who play in the NBA, who make millions of dollars, go broke within a short coming of years. It's because a lot of these people invested their life into this. They focus on this one thing. And yes, some people may be considered the best at what they did at the time. Or he was the best point guard, and he was the this, and he was the that. But then it's like, so how did they become broke if they were one of the best? Or maybe they were the best in their college or something like that. And it's like, but if that person was the best at this one thing, why didn't they reap the benefits of that thing? In a sense, you have to also understand life doesn't owe you anything. But at the same time, it's because, well, maybe if they declined a little bit in this area and focused a little bit in this area, maybe like management and income and different things like that, they would be better. And I know that sounds like a crazy analogy, but I feel like you have to understand, like, being the best at something does not define you as that thing. You could be the best basketball player, but at the end of the day, you're still a human. If you get what I'm saying, like, you can't eat basketball. You can't breathe basketball. You can't sleep basketball, even though people like to say they do. It's a lot of basketball players do not make, even though they make millions of dollars in the, NBA or sports players and stuff like that, a lot of them make a lot of their money in endorsements. I say that to say it's about being smart about things. So first and foremost, you're not a procrastinator just because you like doing multiple things. I think sometimes people think that because they're like, well, I can't focus on one thing, and I procrastinate doing this and I procrastinate doing that. No, you probably need some structure and to, wind down on things you specifically want to do without thinking you only have to do one thing, and then figuring out how to give your version of justified attention to those things. But at the same time, understand that only focusing on one thing and being the best at one thing and constantly like, I have to be better than this person and I have to be better than that person, is sometimes reverse productive to this thing that we call life. And you might excel at that thing, but at the end of the day, can you eat, sleep, or breathe that thing? I know that was a lot, but if that made any sense, like, sometimes you being productive is you doing multiple things, like I said, with a structured way about it and a structured amount of attention. But some people, I know who do great things. They think they're procrastinators, or they think that they're lazy or something like that, or I can't accomplish a task, or I can't. Sometimes that was what you were supposed to give to something. Sometimes you were just supposed to learn how to do this to learn how to do that. Now, if you're constantly quitting on every single thing every single time, okay, you might need a bit more structure, but at the same time, don't think that you're a procrastinator or get into the mindset of being a procrastinator for the simple fact that you just like multiple things and you don't always have the mindset of being the best or feel like you have to necessarily be the best, because being the best, like I said before, is kind of like you have to compare yourself to others, because to be considered the best, you have to be better than. Now, a big reason why a lot of people are procrastinators, and I feel like people need to come to understanding with this, is that you're just too comfortable and you don't truly believe in that goal, whether it's you achieving it, whether it's doing it. You don't believe in that. And I've mentioned on previous videos, you can complain about everything under the sun, about all the problems that you have and how differently your life would be if you completed this thing and accomplished this thing. But at the same time, you have to come to an understanding that if you cared about that goal enough, if you were so uncomfortable, you would change it. And so I think a lot of people get into the mindset of like, I'm a procrastinator, and why do I procrastinate in this thing? And sometimes you may, and sometimes you procrastinate in that thing because you don't believe in that thing. Like, that's just not what you want to do with your life. That's just not what you believe in. And I feel like in society, there's like a group of values and a group of things that we're all taught or told we're supposed to do or we're supposed to achieve. And sometimes subconsciously, you don't believe in those things. You don't truly want to do those things, and those things aren't important to you. And so you consider yourself to be a procrastinator. You consider yourself to be lazy and all these other things, but it's truly just because you don't believe in that thing. That doesn't align with your values, your goals, whatever the case may be. And I think it's very imperative to realize, when you're procrastinating with something, and then ask yourself, why am I consistently procrastinating with this thing? Why do I care about this thing? What benefit will this thing have to my life? Is there any other variation of this thing that I can get that I might like more? Because sometimes we procrastinate with things is simply because our body is just like, I don't want to do it. And we aren't really sometimes good at reading our body and understanding our body. So it's like we think we're just procrastinators, but it's no, your body's literally trying to send signals to you that it doesn't like this thing, or it doesn't like the way you're going about this thing. So maybe you need to change it up. As I mentioned before, when I first became a content creator, I would make, content telling people tips and tricks on how to grow on social media. And it was a drag for me to create that kind of content. And I thought it just was because I was lazy and I was a procrastinator and I didn't want to do things. And then when I started making content about this, like the self-development and self-improvement content, this content, if you guys can see, I've been so consistent with it, and I can make very long videos, actually surprised myself. But before, I told myself I couldn't do it. I told myself I can't make long form content. I can't do that. And it was simply based on the simple fact that I didn't believe in that goal of me becoming, a large content creator that helps people grow on social media and give tips and tricks. That just wasn't a goal of mine, but I thought it was. I thought it made sense because it was making me money at the time. And, if it make money, it must make sense, right? And I just thought because people said I was so good at it that it was what I wanted to do. And then when I really figured out what I wanted to do, now it's easier for me to create this kind of content. Not saying I always want to create content, but it's easier for me. And I no longer really look at myself as a procrastinator. I just realized that just wasn't a goal of mine. And another hard thing that people have to come to the understanding of is sometimes you just don't care about yourself. And I feel like that's a hard one to admit. That's a hard one to come to terms with. But that can be a big reason why your lack of confidence and not caring about yourself. And yes, you may care about that goal if you do, but at the same time, you just don't care. You don't think you deserve that. You truly, yes, you may say it out loud. Oh, I want a newer car, or I want a nicer house. But you, due to limiting beliefs, due to your background, due to history, due to your past, whatever, you truly don't believe that you deserve those things. And that's why you procrastinate, because it's something inside of you, like I said again, with your subconscious, that is constantly telling you, this isn't for us. People like us don't live here. People like us don't do that. And it's really you just not believing you're that kind of person. And I felt like I dealt with that for a very long time. Like I said, sometimes it could come from your upbringing, your parents, or just all in all, just your past, right? There's things that you were told, whether it was verbally, mentally, physically, whatever, that you aren't something and you aren't capable of something, and people like you don't do some certain things. And so as you grow older, you have a cap on what you can do, and you have a cap on what you can achieve, and you don't realize that that cap is even there because it's so normal to you. But that's a big reason why people procrastinate, because they truly don't. It's messed up, like saying it and like actually realizing it, but it's because you don't care enough about yourself. You're not enough of a priority to yourself to really care about that thing. Because if you think about it, even people with pets, right? Your pet has a ear infection or something like that, and the doctor's like, every single day give this, your dog this droplet in his ear. Every single day you're going to get that droplet. There's people out here now, as I mentioned before in the previous episode, who we have conditions ourselves, right? I'm anemic. As I know, part of the anemic community, I stand with you, my girls. And guys, a lot of us do not take our iron pills. Why? Because we just don't, like, it's just a thing of just us not worrying about ourselves enough and not caring about ourselves as much as we would care about the next person or the next thing. And that's another reason why you procrastinate, is because you simply don't care about you. Another thing is that the goal doesn't even seem achievable. You need to break down this goal and figure out exactly the steps you're going to implement to get to that goal. Because a lot of times we're like, I keep procrastinating to start this business. I keep procrastinating to lose weight. How do you start a business? I don't know. How do you make a website? I don't know. How do you get an LLC? I don't know. You don't know nothing. And so you're looking at yourself as a procrastinator. You're looking at yourself as an individual who can't do something or won't do something. But it's a simple fact that the dream that you have, the goal that you have, you don't even understand how to do that thing. So of course you're going to procrastinate with that thing if you don't know how to do that thing. That's like somebody asking you right now, why haven't you signed up for that 4K race? What? When did I say I wanted to do a 4K race? Or how am I supposed to, where do I even go? What do I even, that's what your brain is saying, your subconscious. So even though consciously you may say, I want to start this business, I want to make more money, your subconscious is like, we do? But that's what you haven't done anything that told me we wanted to do that. So I didn't think that was what we was doing. You didn't tell me. And your conscious is like, you should know I want to do this. And your subconscious is like, well, can you give me a sign? The sign to give your subconscious is to start looking at the videos, start taking the courses, start looking up the information, whatever you have to do, start. And so you have to break it down. If you want to start something, you can't just start something the first day. You can't just start a business tomorrow just because you had the idea today. You have to figure out how to start a business. You can't just start going to the gym tomorrow just because you said you want to go today. I mean, you can, but you probably will mess up because you don't know how to stretch properly. You don't know what to eat properly. I say that to say, break these goals down. It's not that you're procrastinating these goals. It's your subconscious doesn't even know that these are goals. So they don't even know to go after these things. Another big one, remove distractions and essentially change your environment. So if you're someone that's always like, I want to be more productive, but I'm always on my phone. I want to be productive, but I'm always, when you're doing work, put that phone in the other room. As I mentioned before in a previous video, I am horrible at waking up in the morning because what do? I press snooze I press, snooze or whatever on my phone, and then I'm on my phone for 30 minutes. Put my phone in the other room, and I use an alarm clock now. I say that to say, remove distractions, and distractions can also be people, right? People could trigger you to act certain ways or do certain things, or sometimes when you're around a group of individuals and you're just, it's not that it's not you, but maybe it's not the you necessarily want to be. Or maybe you can't have conversations about certain things you want to have about. Like you want to start a business, or you want to lose weight, or you want to do something. And you just know that that's just not the kind of people you talk about stuff like that with. Or you tried to talk about stuff like that with them before, and it just didn't go well. That's just not what they want to do. They just don't care about those things. And it's not saying you have to completely befriend them or completely, X them off. But at the same time, if you're primarily hanging out with those individuals, you're primarily with those, that's primarily your environment. You are a product of your environment. So yes, you're going to procrastinate because these people are procrastinating. Yes, you get what I'm saying? It's going to take you forever to do something because you are surrounded by individuals who don't believe in you, Because, and it's nothing to do with you. It's primarily because they don't believe in themselves. So if they don't believe in themselves, they really aren't going to believe in you. So I think it's very imperative that if you want to be more productive, you change your environment. It could be physically, it could be mentally, but as far as taking away distractions, if you know certain things distract you, do not try to put yourself in a competition with that thing of, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. How about you just get rid of it? How about you just not have it in the house? Like me, I don't even drink juice anymore. The only juice I do drink, I'll be honest, y'all, is like the green juices, like the spinach, whatever. And then I also drink like 100% orange juice. I say that to say I used to drink like the cranberry juices and stuff like that. I stopped because a lot of those have a lot of sugar. But I say that to say for a while, it was hard to stop drinking that when it was in the house. If that makes any sense. Like if I'm having it in the house and it's like I'm telling myself, oh, but I'm not really gonna drink it, it's like I'm more susceptible to drink it. Now I could go anywhere. I could literally, somebody could offer it to me and I'd be like, you have water? Because I don't drink that thing. But at the same time, understand you procrastinate. I was procrastinating stopping drinking juice. I was procrastinating drinking more water because I was surrounded by things that would make me go back to the person and the thing I was trying to get away from. So it's very important to take things out of your environment that's making you procrastinate on your goal and essentially changing your environment as much as you can depending on the situation. Now, if you're anything like me, if you are, Mr. or Miss always late. I'm always late to something. And I realized the reason why I'm always late, I'm working on it, is because I always assume I have more time. I feel like a lot of us do this, whether it's going late to a party, whether it's late to work, whether it's you said you're gonna do something at one time and now you're doing it 30 minutes later. Stop assuming you have more time and do things as if you only have 5 minutes. So if I told you, you have 5 minutes to do your makeup and then you have to get ready to go out, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hurry up and do your makeup. Stop waiting and convincing yourself you have more time till you will do it later. That's one of the things that keeps biting me in the butt time after time after time. Now I tell myself, if you have time after, that's your grace period. That's your woosah. But don't convince yourself, oh, I'll just take this 30-minute nap and then after I nap, I'll get ready to go to, the party. No, you're going to get dressed, get ready first. And then if you have time, you're gonna take a nap like this, sitting up so you don't mess up your hair and makeup. Okay? Stop convincing yourself you have more time. Like that's one of the things that messed me up so bad, procrastinating, because I always convince myself I have more time, and time after time, I realize I don't. And another big one, when it comes to time, understand that life is gonna go on, and stop adjusting your situation for your schedule. I say that to say a lot of times I feel like we'll say, okay, I'm gonna wake up in the morning at 8 or 7 and then I'm gonna go to the gym and then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then something happens because that's just what life is, and you're like, oh well, this happened, so now I'm gonna push it back and and you procrastinate. A perfect example of this will be, I told myself I'm gonna wake up at 7 in the morning, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna whoop-de-whoop. My upstairs neighbor's son, as I've mentioned on previous videos about him, he had me up all night, right? He had me up all night till like 2 in the morning. He was playing his game, he was thumping, he was loud, we were going at it, whatever. I say that to say the next day when I woke up at 7, I changed my alarm. I was like, well, I said I was going to sleep at this time, but he kept me up, so I'm going to push it back. And then what happens? I pushed it back more, and then I got a little bit tired when I woke it up again, because now I'm like, I only got 30 minutes. Let me get 30 minutes more. And then it became a thing of me getting into the sorrow of feeling sorrow loop that a lot of us get into. I felt bad the fact that I already was late, but I was already late because I felt bad about not being able to go to sleep last night. And then it just became a loop of me feeling bad for myself about feeling bad. I don't know if that happens to y'all, but it happens to me often, right? If I'm not able to do something the way I said I wanted to do it, I feel bad, but then I start feeling bad because I couldn't do it, and then I feel bad because I didn't do it, if that makes any sense. So it's like a constant loop of just feeling bad and feeling bad and feeling bad, and then once I noticed that I was in the bed for an extra hour and 30 minutes, and I say that to say, life is gonna happen. Do not make a schedule with the mindset that things are gonna go exactly how you want it to go, and things are gonna mishaps happen. And now with the mindset that I do have, what I should have done, but you learn from your mistakes, is still woke up and go to the gym. Why? Because I couldn't change that. Like, there's certain things in your life that you cannot change. There's certain things in your life that may happen and you just gotta roll with the punches. But if you told yourself you're scheduled to do something, if you told yourself you're gonna do something at a specific time, make sure you do it at that time. Make sure that you get what I'm saying? Make sure that you get it done when you said you were gonna get it done, and don't get into the mindset of, oh, well, this happened, so now I have to push this back and push that back. If you don't literally have to push something back, like I didn't have to push going to the gym back. I did it because I told myself, well, you didn't get enough sleep. But if you don't have to do something, stop forcing yourself to do it. Do what you told yourself you were gonna do. Be committed to yourself and stop procrastinating, because that's when you get into the loop of, I was supposed to do this, but then you already had something else scheduled, and then you had something else scheduled, and then you just get into the loop of just missing things, procrastinating a day later, and then it takes forever to catch up to that one schedule, and it was thrown off by one little thing. So days to come, now you're missing this and missing that, and it started by you messing up one thing. So please stick to your schedule. The last tip I will give, do not argue with yourself. I was arguing with myself when it came to waking up in the morning, because I told myself, oh, well, you need to wake up and go to the gym. And then I was like, but he had you up all night. That's not fair. But then don't argue with yourself. Like I said, follow the schedule and use a 5-second rule. Give yourself 5 seconds. A lot of times what messes us up is we get into an argument with ourselves. We know what we said we we're going to do. We know what we said we wanted to do. But then we get into like a going back and forth with ourselves. Oh, I was going to do this, but then I would do that. Follow the schedule and do not argue. Like, treat yourself how you would treat a child that wants to stay up to 2 a.m. Go to sleep. We ain't doing that. Go to sleep. You know you ain't go to sleep. Because the less you argue with this yourself, the more you get your body used to just doing things just because you said it. And that's how your body already should be. A lot of us, our bodies are in the argumentative stage, right? Because it's been like that way our entire life. Because we'll tell ourselves one thing, but then what do? We tell the child they can't stay up, but then we turn into the nice parent and let them stay up. So then there's times where they may not even want to stay up, but they're just going to try it. Or anytime they want to stay up, they're just going to try it again, because they know that there's probably a large chance that you're going to let them stay up, because you always do. Similar to your body, right? You procrastinate a lot of things because you're arguing with your body, because your body knows it could win. You know what I'm saying? But if you get your body accustomed to, when I say we're getting up, we get up. When I say we're turning off that phone, we're turning off that phone. When I say it's time to read, it's time to read. It just becomes clockwork for you. And you feel like you procrastinate things less because you do things when you say you're going to do them. A big reason why we procrastinate is because, yes, we make the schedules and yes, we say what we're going to do, but we don't follow them, unfortunately. So once you get your body used to following it, it doesn't even question you. It doesn't even, oh, but can we? Because we don't even get down like that. So get your body into that kind of mode, into that kind of training. Like, once you tell yourself you're doing something, you're going to do it. Give yourself 5 seconds. When you wake up in the morning, no, you give yourself up. Ain't no, oh, let me check my phone to see what's on it. 5 seconds. When it comes to making any decision, give yourself 5 seconds the most. 5-second rule. Get up and get it done. So that's it for the video. I appreciate you guys so much. This is a part 2. I will link the part 1 in the beginning. This one was more also like the mindset aspect of it. And the part 1, I gave specific more so techniques to use, like the Pomodoro method, eat the frog method, different methods like that. But all in all, I wanted to create this one too, because I realized there were just some mindset things that I wasn't able to talk about, or I just didn't get to in the first one. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're comfortable, comment below anything that you feel like you are procrastinating with, or you constantly procrastinate on, or you even can comment something that always makes you procrastinate. For me, I definitely know it's my phone, but different people have different vices. Thank you and have a great one.